Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I want to welcome you to our broadcast. This is the first segment of our broadcast today. I am Pastor Maxwell Nawihe. Oil and Gas President Tinubu Mbasogo of Equatorial Guinea signed agreement on Gulf of Guinea. Both of them, the President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the President of Equatorial Guinea, Mbasogo, they have signed an agreement on oil and gas pipeline for the Gulf of Guinea. They have signed an agreement to throughout the Gulf of Guinea from Nigeria and supplying gas and oil, crude oil to the Equatorial Guinea, and it is business. So you should understand it is business. This very bilateral agreement is strictly on business, and in business, benefits and interests, advantages for both parties who are coming together to strike such a business. So I think this is not the first time that Nigeria is striking such a deal or coming to such agreement with different countries, both Niger and Chad and other African countries that they supply crude. Also, even to the international waters where the oil of Nigeria, the crude oil of Nigeria is lifted from and then supplied to different parts of the world. It is business. Business is good. You know, business is good. Or one that is in position to decide the benefit and the value of the benefit of the business. It is so good. But the question is, what is the target? What is the aim? What is the target? What is the aim? The oil exploration in Nigeria has gone on for decades. What has come of it? What has come of it? Government comes and goes, having signed different kind of agreements such as this. What has come of it? The oil on the soil of this very nation, has it become a blessing or a curse? Has it become a nightmare that when some people only having the thoughts of the oil exploration in the country, they wished that in fact, it is better that Nigeria had no oil deposited on its soil? Of what advantage it is? Oil exploration, pipeline upon pipeline, supplying crude, exporting crude, no refinery functional in the country. There is nothing that Nigeria can actually boast of as national asset that is of great advantage and benefit that has contributed up to 80 to 90% in alleviating the poverty of the masses, bringing about a better and prospective future for the common man in the street or the common woman in the street. What blessing is this? Or is it another cause about to be unveiled? This very agreement. We must be very, very strategic in business deals. And we must also ask questions. Oil pipeline, Guinea. The president of Nigeria has struck the deal with Mbasogo of Equatorial Guinea. I'm bringing it without further ado to the screen. We may actually see the details together I am Pastor Maxwell Nawehe. I'm Pastor Maxwell Nawehe. Eziokwu nọ na nga, Nnamdi Kanu nọ na nga, Eziokwu nọ na nga. United Nations judgment has set him free. Let him go. All right, we are looking into it in details. The president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his counterpart, Equatorial Guinean President, Teodoro Obiang Nguma Mbasogo, on Wednesday in Malabo, signed an agreement on Gulf of Guinea pipeline project. This was confirmed by Chief Ajuri Ngelale, the special advisor to President Tinubu on media and publicity, in a statement on Thursday, stating that the agreement was signed on Wednesday evening in Malabo. The agreement upholds that the both countries are partners for mutual development. Partners for mutual development. This mutual development, is it going to be reflected in the economy, in the personal or collective well-being of the citizens of the country? A very important question that demands deep considerations and thought. The agreement. On the agreement are legislative and regulatory measures for the gas pipeline, its establishment and operation, transit of natural gas, ownership of the gas pipeline, and general principles. In his remarks at the event, President Tinubu said the signing of the agreement will open up new opportunities for gas exploration and employment. If it is for gas exploration, I agree. But if it is for employment, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. So promises have been made so much, many of them countless times, have been made by different administrations. And today, every one of you who are in the know understands quite frankly that more often than not even 10% of implementation of such convincing promises were achieved until the administration ended its, whether it's the first tenure or the second tenure. No employment. Further, President Tinubu said that the two leaders had discussed issues related to the creation of employment, food security, multilateral relations, and conflict resolution mechanisms on the continent during a private meeting that preceded the signing of the agreement. So they said, concerning Africa, conflicts and conflict resolution were discussed. We discussed various areas of conflict and what we can do to promote peace. We talked about promotion of peace and stability in our countries and growth and prosperity on our continent. They know how to talk. One thing with the African leaders, they know how to promise you heaven and earth. And another thing with them is they know how to break their promises. That is the truth. One thing with the African leaders, political leaders, the elites, so to speak, more especially those in the public offices, the public office holders, they know how to promise you heaven and earth. They know how to do that. They don't think about it. They just open up their mouth, or when they sit with, or their aides, their press secretaries sit, or their media and publicity secretaries sit to write, to pen down convincing words of promises that could take you off your feet, of heaven and earth. They know how to do it so clearly, so convincingly, and they also know how to disappoint you. They also know how to disappoint you. The promises we have received with the succeeding administrations doing the same, the continent of Africa would have been what God had actually intended it to be by depositing diverse kinds and degrees of very wonderful, very resourceful, and valuable natural resources. But unfortunately, they can give the promises, they can make it so convincing, and they also know how to break it. In the same way that Europe and America have kept themselves and found a solution for their conflicts, we have to look at both inadequate capital, industrialization efforts, research and development programs, and enlighten our people, navigate our way through problems. Wonderful talkers. Instead of the crisis and conflict that we see in the Republic of Congo and others, we have to look inwards to solve problems ourselves. That was what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said. And how many of the problems of Nigeria has he solved? How many of the problems bedeviling the country since he took over the helm of affair, since he was sworn in as the president of Nigeria? How many of the problems has he solved in the power sector, in oil and gas, as the Minister of Petroleum? What has he done about the refineries in Nigeria? What has he done? Road infrastructure. What has he done? What about the Calabar coastal highway that led to the demolition? I don't want to raise certain questions here, but the question is this: what has the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, done with bringing about a better life for the Nigerian people? What has he done? He is preaching looking inward to solve the problems of Africa by Africans. He is an African. He is an African. He is leading what is adjudged as the most populous black nation on earth, Nigeria, numbering more than 200 million citizens. What has he done? What is the scorecard of his 1 year discussion with the president? Mbasogo also covered challenges of security, African Continental Free Trade Area, ACFTA, and food security. Food security. But the headsmen are destroying farmlands in Nigeria, where the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the president. Can you reconcile this type of sheer hypocrisy, inconsistency? He is preaching about food security, but back home in Nigeria, herdsmen are destroying farmlands with their cattle. We all that we will work together to make sure that the solution to many of our problems in Africa comes from within, the president concluded. And we can clap for him. But that is hypocrisy, dancing and playing to the gallery. In his remarks, the Equatorial Guinean president, Mbasogo, stated that bilateral relations with Nigeria over many years have been rewarding, and emphasized the need to deepen cooperations across salient areas. President Mbasogo said Africa's vision of having permanent seat in the Security Council of the United Nations is vital for the development of the continent, affirming that Equatorial Guinea will work together with Nigeria to realize the objective. That is what he said. The president of Equatorial Guinea said the signing of the agreement was strategic for Africa's development. We agree. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Toga of Nigeria, and Mr. Simeon Oyono Esono, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Equatorial Guinea, also signed the agreement. The agreement was signed and witnessed by the following. The name is just the roll call here. You have Ambassador Yusuf Toga. You have the Minister, Mr. Simeon Esono. You have the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Equatorial Guinea, also signed the agreement. We have Chief Latif Fabemi, the Minister of Justice and AGF, Alhaji Muhammad Abubakar, the Minister of Defense, Dr. Olubumi Tunjiojo, the Minister of Interior, witnessed the signing of the agreement. And also we have Mr. Eberibe Ebo, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Gas, and Dr. Jamila Ibrahim Bill, the Minister of Youth Development. Thank you very much for watching. I am Pastor Maxwell Nawihe, and from me from here, it is goodbye.